Hello everybody, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now at 5 o'clock. Fidget spinners. Are they helpful for kids who need to have that extra focus, or are they a distraction? We'll talk about it.
Plus, parents famous on YouTube for pranking their children went a little too far. Now they've lost custody of those kids.
Should teachers in our state get a raise in pay? We'll talk about that.
This is News Center Now. For joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Lee Goldberg, and this is something that is being seen in schools. Have you heard of this yet?
I actually had not until we did this story.
Well, if you do have school-age children, you've probably seen or at least heard about these little tiny toys that are topping kids' wish lists. It's the fidget spinner. Now, they look like propellers, and I don't believe this is the right video. They do spin on your finger. It's a pretty simple concept, but they're causing complications in schools around the country, including right here in our state.
Right. That video is for a story for later.
Hey,
but
guess what?
Jess.
I have
one.
And we're going to play with one after, maybe if we can get a little close-up. I was going to save this for the end surprise, but since the video was not there, this is it. I don't know if you can see. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's the little close-up. Oh, this one. Okay, great. So this is the fidget spinner, and the problem is they're becoming a major distraction for kids in class. They won't stop playing with them. Our teachers are getting pretty frustrated, but experts say that these kind of fidget toys can actually help certain kids focus better in the classroom. There's not much to them, but for kids with anxiety disorders, autism, or ADHD, some experts say fidget toys like this spinner can help with learning.
I've seen a lot of benefit from it.
Shelby Westman supervises school-based support services for children in Portland Public Schools. She says some kids use fidgets as tools during class time.
It really helps calm their bodies and just, you know, they can still focus, and the fidgets usually help them focus.
But fidgets are no longer just in the hands of kids who need them. Spinners like this have become popular toys and are disrupting classes here in Maine. South Portland Superintendent Ken Coonan says there have already been cases in elementary schools where teachers have told kids not to bring the spinners into class. In Saco, officials are scheduled to meet about how to handle the sudden influx of spinners. The issue has also sparked some passionate posts on our Facebook page. Caitlin says misuse by a few shouldn't cause many to be denied this incredible coping skill. And Christine says she doesn't mind when they are used in class by kids in need, but unfortunately, that's not often the case. For Shelby, use of a fidget should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
Every child is different. No one's the same.
A fun toy for some, but an important tool for others. Now, I have to admit, this is the first time I am playing with one and have seen one, actually, but it is pretty addictive. That's what we're saying, right? I mean, look, you're already asking me to play with it.
I just wanted another turn.
Right, and I think that's the thing that teachers are saying. You know, this does help some kids, but it's also creating a distraction, because if somebody sees it, they're like, you know, give it to me. It's my turn.
Right.
You're asking kids to have an awful lot of self-restraint, to not come towards this when they see someone else playing with it.
Sure, but the amount of good it can do for some kids is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right, well, you can keep going. I'm gonna
need that back at some point.
I'll just move on to the next story, which is still in the classroom. Should teachers be paid more? Because that's at the heart of a bill in Augusta that would boost the starting salaries for teachers.
Yeah, the bill proposes $40,000 per year as a starting salary. Now, that would be quite a boost. When it comes to teacher pay, Maine ranks around the bottom. In a recent report, the National Education Association says Maine is 41st out of 50 states, paying teachers a starting rate around $33,000 a year. Now, that's also the lowest of any of the New England states.
Okay, here's what you had to say about it. Bob says pay should be higher than $40,000. Teaching demands come beyond school hours. Plans and materials don't just show up on a teacher's desk in the morning. And Jason says $40,000 is too much for a first-year teacher. RSU 19 Superintendent Mike Hammer, who oversees rural areas around Dixmont, Etna, and Corinna, says the idea is good, but it would be a major financial hit.
I really like the idea. You know, I think our teachers, you know, need to be valued, and I would love to be able to pay that. However, when I just do a substitute of everybody who's making less than $40,000, I immediately get a hit of around $270,000.
Yeah, and as Hammer just said, the cost of boosting pay of those teachers who aren't making 40 grand would be a significant increase in cost, and just under $300,000 if that happens. Another bill being discussed in Augusta is about whether you'll have to go to the doctor before getting cold medicine at the pharmacy. We told you about this earlier this week, back on Monday. Now, the main ingredient used in meth is called pseudoephedrine, which is also the active ingredient in medicines like Sudafed D and Claritin D.
Today, lawmakers discussed whether people should need a doctor's prescription before buying it at the pharmacy. Patients say they don't have the time or even money for that when they want a quick relief from their cold.
That $12 box of Sudafed's now going to cost me $200. I don't think this is a very wise use of time.
It is an inconvenience, but is it worth it to stop this plague from happening in Maine?
Oregon and Mississippi have similar laws restricting access to decongestants currently.
I don't know about you, but when I was outside today, I looked up and I saw this weird circular yellowy thing. I called the local police. They weren't sure what it was either. Maybe Keith could help us out.
Yeah,
What was that thing called?
I see what you're getting at. Also, you might need some of that decongestant for the allergies, guys. They're starting to pop up. I don't know if you noticed that. You did notice it, yeah. Yeah, it's starting to get there. High temperatures today in the 60s along the coastline, everything blooming and very quickly with the sunshine and the rain that we've seen really for the past week or two. It's been a rainy pattern. All right, so we're starting to cloud up here within this, a lot of popcorn showers. Something very summery about this look here, where there's a lot of pop-up showers around, nothing in the way of thunderstorm activity yet, but a few of these very, very light. They will continue through the first half of tonight and then settle down by later this evening. Tomorrow is a nice sunny day. Some late clouds come in around 3 or 4 over southern and western Maine, but it is dry through and through until we head into late Thursday night and into Friday. As I mentioned before, that doesn't look like a very good day there. Friday and into Friday night, a big rainstorm. So here are your allergen levels. Trees are the highest, maple and birch are the highest there, and grass and weeds in there as well. Guys, when I was down in Georgia, some of the allergy levels are about 10 times what you get in New England. So I think my nose is just starting to adjust to that. I got a big intake too. That helps.
2 YouTube stars known for the videos of pranks they pull on their kids have now lost custody after their latest prank goes too far. Hi everybody, I'm Katie Ortiz with your Social Stop. The video shows this couple right here, I'm going to move out of the way, known as Daddy05 on YouTube, yelling and swearing at their kids over something the kids know that they didn't do. We're going to show you some of that video, but as a warning, it might be too difficult for some of you to view, and also we are blurring the video.
What did you do? What the? I didn't do that. What the hell is that? I didn't do that. You tell me what you did. I swear to God, I didn't do that.
The videos seem to target this boy, Cody, and later in the video you can see his siblings beating him up. It also shows his father pushing his face into a bookshelf. Tonight, Cody and his sister Emma are now living with their biological mother after she got emergency custody. Now, fighting back tears, the parents issued a public apology on YouTube, which has been viewed more than 2 million times. The rest of their videos are now deleted. Now, it's videos like these and the violent Facebook lives that prompting Zuckerberg to take greater measures in identifying them. Facebook plans to hire another 3,000 people to review reported videos. Now, this is on top of the 4,500 that they already have. Social media giant has been slammed in recent months for responding too slowly to videos flagged for violence. Local law enforcement, though, has concerns for these workers who watch these grisly scenes over and over.
Will Facebook take care of their employees that have to view this? Because viewing violent crime every day will take a toll on their health. Will they be hiring psychiatrists and social workers so that these people that have to view awful things have some way of dealing with it at the end of the day?
Social media experts question what the guidelines would be, especially to avoid censorship, but they also point out sites like Twitter and Facebook have been trying to compete with TV, especially the news, so this move could actually mirror what happens in newsrooms all over the world.
In television news, we have ethics, we have things put in place to sort of watch out for these things. There are many decision makers inside of a newsroom, as you well know, that certainly sort of help prevent these things from making it to air. So I think a lot of that is probably sort of the building steps of what Facebook is going through now.
I think different situations, especially Facebook, they kind of set their own precedent, not only for them, but for the rest of social media. So, I mean, news and TV, they're, also trying to keep up with, social media and, the technology. And I think Facebook is also trying to keep up with itself. It's a never-ending struggle, I think.
Well, and when you give the ability to people to broadcast live whenever they feel like it and have no control over what that content is, I'm glad that they're at least thinking about getting proactive and trying to stop anything bad from happening. So that's good.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for sure. So.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Still ahead on Now. He's out of prison for a crime he may not have committed. Next, what the former police chief has to say about his investigation decades later.
And a little bit later, a drug that could be the new solution for people suffering from PTSD.
The man in charge of the Portland Police Department when Anthony Sanborn was convicted of murder stands behind his detectives.
Detective Young and Detective Daniels, I've been doing this for 53 years, are as good as, if not better than any detective I've ever seen.
Former Police Chief Michael Chitwood spoke with us by phone from Pennsylvania. He does not believe his detectives and the former Assistant Attorney General framed Sanborn for murder. A judge released Sanborn from prison last month after he served 25 years for the murder of Jessica Briggs and after a witness recanted her story. Now, coming up on News Center, Chitwood responds to that potential evidence kept in a detective's attic that we told you about yesterday. Nearly 2 years after a deadly circus tent collapsed, the criminal case against the operator is now resolved. The president of Walker International Events agreed to enter guilty pleas and pay more than $80 grand in penalties and fines. And oh, Canada, if you've been wanting to visit our friends up north, hey, it's going to be easier now. Today, Elite Airways announced its first flight from Portland Jetport to Halifax, that new service. It does start in June, so coming up next month. The new route will operate Fridays, Sundays, and Wednesdays, so not every day, and each way will be about $170.
All right.
A new place to visit.
That schedule works for a quick little weekend visit.
Yeah, beats waiting in traffic if you try to drive there. Too, so. All right.
Much longer drive.
I'm in for that. All right, thank you. Coming up next on Now, nearly 8% of Americans experience post-traumatic stress disorder at some point in their lives.
Depression, anxiety, not wanting to be around large crowds of people, loud noises, I'd break out in sweat.
That could change soon thanks to a new trial drug. Plus, if the sun is sticking around, we'll let Keith stick around, I guess. Maybe.
They just throw these medications at us, and a lot of them I think, hurt us more than they help us.
It's been more than 20 years since doctors have prescribed a new medication for people dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. But now, a breakthrough drug still in the testing phase could tackle this problem.
The biggest push could come from those people with PTSD to help get that drug on the market.
This is Mark Bratton and his service dog, Benny.
The biggest thing that he's done for me is helped me interact with the public.
Bratton served with the Marines in the Philippines in 2006, Iraq in 2007, and Afghanistan for 2 years. When he returned in 2011, this combat veteran was diagnosed with PTSD.
I had kind of seen the symptoms and signs of it while I was in the Marine Corps, but kind of ignored them.
The symptoms dramatically altered his life.
Hypervigilance, depression, anxiety, not wanting to be around large crowds of people, loud noises, I'd break out in sweats, looking at rooftops and being weary when I was driving, always being skeptical of people and not very trusting.
PTSD affects not only the person with it, but the whole family and their employers and their fellow employees and society in general.
2.5 million veterans have been deployed to the Middle East since 2001. 20% of those combat vets return with PTSD. That's over 500,000 veterans needing help.
They just throw these medications at us, and a lot of them I think, hurt us more than they help us.
The last 2 drugs approved were Zoloft and Paxil back in the late 80s, early 90s.
But now a new drug given breakthrough designation by the FDA could change all that. Researchers found a muscle relaxer was the key.
In a much smaller dose than is used as a muscle relaxant. And it's given sublingually under the tongue, which allows them to use a much smaller dose, which doesn't make people drowsy during the day.
It also bypasses the liver, going straight into the bloodstream. The drug, which is now going into a phase 3 trial, doesn't have a name yet, but it already has had some success in previous trials, one of which Bradham was a part of.
The major things like depression and anxiety and things like that, feeling worthless and down, and these like negative, thoughts have totally subsided and went away.
Clinical Trials of Texas needs volunteers for the final phase of testing called the Honor Study.
They get physical exams and EKGs and laboratory work. Of course, all that's at no charge. And then they get seen during the course of the 12-week study.
For the Honor Study, they're looking for veterans who were deployed to the Middle East after 2001. But there's also a PTSD study for civilians, people involved in incidents such as rape, robbery, any type of assault, even weather disasters like hurricanes, floods, or fires, car accidents, any type of traumatic experience.
We're looking for people with those caused PTSD conditions as well.
It's very important to get this medication out to not only the veteran community, but to other, civilians and stuff of that nature who struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Since the drug has been fast-tracked by the FDA, it could be on the market within 2 years.
Okay, so if you or someone you know is in need of help, the Veterans Crisis Line is one resource always standing by. You can call 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Very important information.
Absolutely.
Also important information. Keith Carson talking about the forecast.
Speaking of floods,
we'll
as he mentioned in that story.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Some big rain coming, but we do have one nice day coming. Today was actually decent.
I was going to say,
yeah,
let's soak in today and tomorrow.
Focus on the positive.
Right.
And then after that, not going to like it.
Yeah.
You're not going to like Friday night. But you've been warned since Monday, so that should be worth something. You mentioned this hill, actually. Pretty windy out there, noticeably so. It makes it feel a little cooler than it really is. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Portland, 31 in Freiburg. So not going to do any damage, but you will notice it, and it makes it feel cool, particularly in the cloud cover here. We have quite a bit of clouds that have bubbled up during the last couple of hours. Started totally clear along the coastal plain, but now we've got clouds across the entire state, a few showers in there as well. Most of these showers have been very light in nature. Guttner actually pointed something out. We saw a lot of good rainbows yesterday. Could see some of those later this afternoon through tonight as well because of the rain and then the sun mixing back and forth. We clear out tomorrow morning, nice and clear through most of the day. We're sunny. Here we are at 5 o'clock, some clouds starting to move into southern Maine and the mid-coast. We cloud up overnight on Thursday. Showers arrive on Friday. Most of us stay dry until noon at least, but then the rain comes in earnest Friday afternoon and Friday night. This is some really heavy downpour stuff on Friday evening through the morning on Saturday and continuing through at least the first half of Saturday. And even when the heavy rain moves out, it's still going to be cloudy and drizzly for the duration of Saturday. So I don't like Friday afternoon through Saturday afternoon. It's just not going to be very nice. Total rainfall amounts approaching 2 inches, maybe a little bit more over down east. There should be less rain in the mountains, but they still actually have some snowpack, so they'll be melting some of that. After that, that low sticks around. Sunday's actually not a bad day, but there'll be a few showers, and shower chances all the way Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably into Thursday of next week as that upper level low sits and spins over us. But wait, there's more. Take a look at this nerdy map I got from one of my computer model sites. It shows the Euro trying to drop a little mountain snow on Monday night, Tuesday. Not going to be a big deal, but then again, it is May, so we'd rather not see any snow on the map at all. Gives you an idea, guys, of the cool air mass that's just aloft. So basically, those mountains are going to be able to get into what the air is above the surface, and that's why they'll see the snow. Most of us will be in the 50s. It's just not a pattern that's conducive to us being all that warm.
Yeah, I mean, let's get the 70s.
Yeah.
Let's get there.
As we talked about yesterday, it's kind of a mid-May and on thing because at this point, we're going to have a hard time till then.
All right. Thanks.
Maine are thriving under 30 when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Time for to meet another Mainer thriving under 30-ish.
Yeah, today Zach Blanchard introduces us to a man who's been an active part of revitalizing Central Maine. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Amanda and Lee. That's right. I continue my journey to show young people who chose to stay here in Maine and are giving back to their communities. Today, we do break the rules a bit. 31-year-old Garvin Donegan is head of economic development for the Central Maine Growth Council in Waterville. He graduated from USM and he started his role about 2 years ago. Since then, he says the city has seen major growth. A humble guy, he didn't want to talk too much about himself, but joked about how he once hoped to maybe be a soccer player or even a forester. He even turned some questions around and made it about the city and the work he's doing. For example, here's a quick look at what happened when a large school group of kids interrupted our interview.
So what are you guys doing today?
We just went from Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh, checking out Winnie the Pooh. What you're seeing right now is a little bit of the livability, the walkability, and again, hopefully our future workforce.
So Winnie the Pooh leading to the future workforce. It's that drive that has truly landed him an award for from the Mid-Maine Chamber. And now for a look at everyone we've featured so far, you can head on over to our website or app and go to the Thriving Under 30 section. Lee and Amanda.
Thanks, Zach.
Zach, thank you. Keith's back.
Good hair, that, Zach. Really nice hair. All right, today's brain drops. We're talking about the upper level low. I want to explain why the upper level low is going to make our pattern not so nice over the next couple of days. So these are the maps that I look at. Obviously, you can locate New England there, and the blue is showing that upper level low spinning. There is a little bit of a Mickey Mouse situation there.
That's Mickey Mouse. Right there.
This is what happens when you have 28 children. Were you just down there? Anyways, that's your upper level low sitting and spinning there. All right, let's move on to the next graphic here, which is going to show you what the associated precipitation is. So the idea behind upper level low and why it's not good is clouds and precip form because the ground is warmer than the air aloft, right? So during the summer, it gets really hot, the air rises, condenses into clouds, showers. When the upper level low is overhead, the air is cooler. So that means that it's easy to be warmer at the surface. So even if you're 52, you're way warmer than the colder air aloft. That promotes that upward motion with showers, and that's why we're going to have problems over the next couple of days. Last graphic here shows you what it does for temperatures. It ain't good. So it just gives you an idea
of the color you're looking for.
Kind of the dynamics behind that and why this is not a good thing to have. Yeah, this is what you want down
Once again,
here.
Old dog learned a new trick.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Thanks,
You're not that
Keith.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, you made up for the hair comment. News Center at 5:30 now.